Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So today we're looking at something that might seem really, really basic. Daily routines.
Yeah, daily routines.
Our source is episode 10 of English Made Easy, Learn Step by Step. It's called English Beginner Daily Routines.
Right, so aimed at beginners.
Exactly, and you might think, okay, too simple, but hang on. These basic phrases, these activities, they're kind of the fundamental ways we structure our days and how we talk about them. So our mission really is to pull out that core language, those key phrases about routines, and, really ask why these specific things are often the first stuff learners get.
Yeah, what's the thinking there? And maybe what can we learn just generally from this kind of step-by-step look at something so, every day?
Absolutely, because it might seem simple, but
it's foundational, isn't it?
Yeah.
These routines, they aren't just random actions people do. They often reflect, cultural ideas or just how an individual likes to order things.
Right. Priorities.
Yeah, priorities. So even looking at this beginner stuff, we might find some, surprisingly deep insights into how we organize our lives and how language helps us do that.
Okay, let's get into it, starting with the morning.
The beginning is day.
The lesson lists these useful phrases, things like wake up, get out of bed, take a shower.
Standard stuff. Brush my teeth, get dressed.
Eat breakfast, and then go to work school. And the examples are simple. I wake up at 7 a.m. Or I brush my teeth and take a shower. I eat breakfast at 8.
Very direct.
What strikes me is the order, the purpose. It's all about preparing to, face the world, right?
It is. And you have to wonder why these specific actions are the ones highlighted. This sequence, waking up, taking care of yourself, getting some food, it seems like a really basic human need for readiness.
Before you tackle the big stuff, work, school.
Exactly. There's this sort of internal prep first. You see that pattern a lot, this initial focus on yourself before you join the collective for the day.
It does make you wonder, though, what's missing? No mention of exercise or maybe meditation, mindfulness. For some people, those are absolutely core morning things.
That's a really good point. Does leaving them out suggest maybe a kind of cultural view of what's basic? Or is he just stripping it down to the bare essentials for a beginner?
Could be.
I suspect it's probably more the latter, focusing on things most people do, things that happen often.
High-frequency actions.
Right. But still, the choice of these essentials, it does maybe hint at a standard, perhaps kind of westernized view. Efficiency, getting ready for work, productivity.
Okay, let's move on. The afternoon.
Right, the middle chunk of the day.
The focus shifts. Phrases like work study, take a break, have lunch, check emails, attend meetings.
Very work-oriented or study-oriented.
Yeah, and the examples reflect that. I work from 9 to 5, or I have lunch at 12:30. I study English in the afternoon.
Standard schedule stuff.
And then practice sentences too, like I check my email after lunch. I take a break at 3 o'clock. It really paints that picture of a structured workday, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And having work study right there as the main thing, it just underlines how important that is in society.
Yeah.
But what's also interesting is they include take a break.
Right.
Even for beginners, the lesson points out you need pauses.
Yeah.
It's a small thing, but it says a lot about, keeping going without burning out. Sustainable effort.
And attend meetings, that feels quite specific.
It does, yeah.
It kind of suggests maybe an office job or a certain kind of collaborative work.
Could be, or maybe school context too.
True. Someone working alone, maybe from home, their afternoon might look very different. Is putting that phrase in maybe hinting at who the language learner is expected to be or where they're going?
It might suggest a common goal, like preparing for jobs where meetings are, common. But the bigger idea is just, scheduled interaction. Talking to people as part of your work or a study day. It could be a formal meeting, could be something else.
Okay. Then the evening. The wind down.
Back home, usually.
Phrases listed are come home, make dinner, watch TV, talk with family, do homework, read a book, and finally, go to bed.
A mix of things there.
Examples. I come home at 6 p.m., I eat dinner and watch TV, I go to bed at 10, and they have a little repeat list. Make dinner, watch TV, go to bed.
Highlighting the core evening actions, maybe?
Yeah, seems like it. Emphasizing that winding down process.
What's neat about the evening list is the blend. You've got necessities like make dinner.
Gotta eat.
Right. Then relaxation, watch TV, read a book, and also connection, talk with family. So repeating make dinner, watch TV, go to bed, probably just underlines those as really common, maybe almost universal evening markers in lots of places.
Yeah.
The shift from being out and active to being in and resting.
It feels like a cycle almost, a mini cycle within the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Prepare, engage with the day, then transition back to something more personal, more restful.
And the language follows that shift too.
How so?
Well, the verbs change, don't they? You go from action verbs about work or study to verbs about home life, leisure, domestic stuff. The language mirrors where your focus is changing throughout the day.
Huh, that's interesting. Okay, the lesson also covers talking about your day.
Ah, the conversational bit.
Yeah, questions like, what time do you wake up? Statements like, I usually go to bed at 11, or my routine is simple, even I don't have time in the morning.
Real life comments.
And there's a little dialogue example. Person A asks, what time do you get up?
Common question.
Person B says, around 7 a.m. A asks, do you eat breakfast? B, yes, I eat at home before work.
See, it's basic social interaction, isn't it? How we ask and share this simple info about our schedules.
It really gets to the core of that.
And this part really shows the social side of talking about routines. Asking about wake-up times, breakfast. It's a very normal way to start a chat, find common ground.
Small talk, basically.
Yeah, but important small talk. It shows we're interested in how other people navigate their day.
And those practice sentences, I usually get home by 5 p.m. My evenings are very relaxing.
They show how we add our own flavor, right? Our feelings about the routine.
Exactly, because someone else gets home at 5, and maybe their evening is totally chaotic, not relaxing at all.
Right.
So the basic words give us a shared structure, but how we talk about it, the extra bits we add, that's where our own personality and experience come through.
Okay, last bit here, the vocabulary table. It defines some key terms.
Ah, yes, the definitions.
Routine is a regular way of doing things. Simple enough. Get dressed is put on clothes.
Obvious, maybe, but crucial for a beginner.
Take a break. Stop working for a short time. Attend. Go to a meeting or class. And go to bed. Sleep at night.
These definitions are super important. They're not just translating, they're explaining the function of the word in this context, the daily activity context.
It's about getting the concept, not just the word itself.
Precisely. Understanding how it's used. So, when we step back and look at this whole beginner lesson, it seems simple, but there's a really clear structure, isn't there?
Definitely.
A logical flow through a typical day, the main things you do in each part, and the basic words you need to talk about it. It's like a starter kit for describing your life.
It really is. And, you know, if you think about how we learn anything new, this step-by-step way, it's often how we build understanding, right?
Yeah.
Start with the basic bits, the core words or ideas, and then layer on the complexity. This lesson is like a mini example of effective learning, breaking down something big, daily life, into smaller, manageable chunks.
That's a great way to put it. It's a reminder that even with really complex topics, sometimes you just need to find those basic building blocks, the core language, to start getting a handle on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this whole look at the everyday, the routine, it just reminds us that even the most normal parts of our lives have these structures, practical structures, language structures, that shape how we experience things and talk about them.
So maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. How would you describe your own daily routine? Using just this kind of basic vocabulary, what are those absolute must-do activities that define your day? And maybe what does this whole idea of structuring our days and having a shared way to talk about it tell us about what we prioritize as individuals, maybe even as cultures?
Yeah, what does that structure reveal? It's definitely something interesting to mull over.
Indeed it is. Thanks for diving deep with us today.